wa mkono ambao unalima ardhi, mlango wa mkulima kuwa mshindi, kuwa na uhakika sasa, kulea mustakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja, kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
Thank you indeed for staying with us here on Farm Kenya. My name is Peter Wakaba. On this second part of our show today, we of course are still delving into poultry production, the various things you should be on the lookout for. Our expert Amos, still here in studio, a veterinary expert and consultant, of course giving us insights into how you can get into this value chain and do well for yourself. Well, let's continue our conversation, Amos. Before we went on the break, we had been talking about bringing in your chicks. We looked at the environment, we looked at the construction, the different aspects. So where are we now? And assuming, for example, we want to bring in broilers. So what next?
So when preparing now to bring your birds, we recommend that you get your birds from a recommended hatcher. And we have listed a few. There's Ken chick, Ivines. Then from that, before you bring in the chicks to the house, you need to prepare something called a brooder.
Yes.
A brooder is a small section in the poultry unit that you're going to bring up the birds. We just set a small place so that you can monitor the birds easily, and with this small space, there are some things that there are a few things that you require that to have prepared. Number one, you have to set up drinkers. You also have to set up feeders.
Yes.
So there's a ratio that we normally recommend. A ratio of 1 drinker is to 50 birds, and one feeder to 50. So it's
Yes.
one feeder to 50 birds, 1 drinker to 50 birds. So that should be set depending on the number of birds that you're intending to bring to the farm. Number two, what you need is to have you need to have to bring in warmth, and that can be the people who use jikos, the people who use gas brooders, and those people who use infrared bulbs.
Yes.
So this to ensure that the environment where the birds are coming has enough warmth. And with that, we normally recommend a farmer to have a thermometer, so that you can monitor the right temperature for the bird to grow up to grow up without any problems, and that is around 37 degrees. So with that environment, with that temperature, the birds will grow without any challenges.
They'll thrive.
So the other thing we need to ensure that our brooder has is we need to have wood shavings in it, so that we say this will enable us, will enable the house not to have moisture and to reduce ammonia. So the other important thing that we need to have, or before we put rubber, is disinfecting the brooder unit.
Yes.
So by disinfecting is that because what we have in our unit is already foreign. Maybe the wood shavings, maybe where we brought them, maybe our curtains, our goodness that we use to make the brooder. We need to disinfect them so that we can able to manage any virus or bacteria that can come, that we will have come with these foreign materials. Because our birds, when they have come from the hatchery, the only environment that knows the hatchery and the poultry, so they should meet an environment that is very bacteria free and virus free. Yes, so we call that biosecurity. It's very important, so that you need to disinfect the whole unit. And the other thing that you need to consider is also, before the unit, you need to have a foot bath. A foot bath is whereby you can put a disinfectant in a basin, or you make a trench just before you get into the house, whereby you will dip in your legs to kill any bacteria or viruses maybe that you have collected maybe from outside the poultry house, so that you may not bring viruses into the house. So those are the most important aspects that you need to consider when you bring in the birds. So then from there is you need to place feeds in the feeders, and also water, so that when the birds come into the house, they'll get ready water and also feeds. So that should be the first thing that should be in your house when you bring in the birds. Yes.
So a lot of people then are not essentially don't consider themselves experts. So
Yes.
even as they do this, they'll want to consult with an expert such as yourself.
Yes.
Or someone in the space who can give them advice.
Yes.
How do they realize, how do they investigate, how do they find out who's a quack and who's not? How do they know that the expert they're working with is actually qualified?
Currently, what our farmers get enlightened maybe from their sources, maybe from agrovets and from these chick distributors.
Yes.
And the good thing with our government, there's a regulatory body now that has come to curb quacks from the industry, the KVB. So we applaud them for that. So now there are people now who are currently now in the field. They are experts and people who know. They are people who understand veterinary and chicks handling. So anytime a farmer goes to get the birds from his or her recommended chick distributor,
Yes.
it's good for them to inquire from them. Maybe
So get a referral.
Yes, you get a referral of a certain person that is going to assist you maybe in your project. Yes.
That is good to know and actually closes that loop.
Yes.
So then let's go on. So we now have these chicks in house.
Yes.
We are looking at 30 to 42 days, as you said,
Yes.
to full production.
Yes.
Let's talk about the feed aspect, because for many farmers, that's a major challenge.
Yes.
Especially the protein bit.
Yes.
We've seen people doing everything from omena,
Yeah.
we've seen ochonga, now we have BSF, we keep hearing about it.
Yes.
What can farmers do to sustainably arrest the cost of feeds and to be able to maintain the consistent formulation and level of feeding and nutrition that is required to get optimum results?
Okay. So in poultry business, the biggest cost of production
Yes.
is feeds. It takes up almost 90% of the whole cost of producing a bird.
Kuku zinakula pesa.
Zinakula pesa. So 90% itakuwa chakula.
Yes.
So what I recommend farmers is it's good to get feeds from the recommended feed millers. Feed millers that meet the nutritional value for your birds to grow in the right way and for you to achieve the right results at the right time.
Yes.
Currently we have a number of feed millers with quality feeds. We've got Sigma, we've got Unga and the likes. If a farmer wants to bring up to rear maybe broilers, for example,
Yes.
we recommend you start with feeds that are called starter crumbs. You get starter crumbs, you feed your birds starter crumbs from day 1 to day 21 for 21 days.
Yes.
So maybe the average amount of feed that a bird will feed for the 3 weeks, because it's for 21 days, it's between 0.8 grams to 1 kg. Then after the 21 days, now you transition to the second phase.
Yes.
Whereby you now feed the finisher pellets. And now what I recommend for you to get results, as you had just asked maybe how the farmer will get, is number 1, you get quality feeds from a good feed company. Number 2 is the nutritional value of the feeds that you're going to give. Because broilers need a lot of protein and energy. So from the feed companies, what majority of the feed companies do is that they work with percentages to achieve the recommended percentage for each nutrient value. If it is energy, they set a certain percentage. We require this amount, and protein the same. Because once you get quality feeds, your conversion, the birds will convert maybe what they eat very fast. You will get minimal waste through droppings and fast conversion in gaining weight. So that is why I've recommended that you get feeds from a recommended feed miller, and that will give you quality feeds and assured feeds. And also you get feeds from maybe a feed mill that you're in a position to get in touch with. Maybe you have a problem maybe in your feeding program. Yes.
So you've talked about pellets. It used to be chick mash and grower mash, starter mash, those sorts of things. So it's no longer, it's now pellets.
We still have the mash formulation, but the good thing with crumbs and pellets,
yes.
with the way these feeds are formulated, they inform, it minimizes waste wastage, because it's more of in pelleted form. So now the birds are able to peck into the pieces.
Yes. So for farmers who might not have the financial muscle,
Yes.
Because this feed is actually quite expensive,
Yes.
and is a challenge for a lot of other people.
Yes.
And who might prefer or have to do their own formulations. How do you ensure that you balance the energy you talked about and the protein and that sort of thing, especially in view of the things we talked about? Because when you go to the normal setting around farms,
Yes.
you either have, like in parts of Nyanza, although now it's rare, you'd have omena.
Yeah.
Other places we are now starting to talk of BSF. Others, you keep hearing people will say market waste, things like
Yes.
that. What can you use to supplement this feed, essentially, if you can't stick to
the
commercial feeds?
Commercial feeds. So on this, there's one challenge with this, and that is that has been one of the stumbling blocks, maybe to the farmer, maybe who's not in a position to get commercial ready feeds, because of quality. These feeds require a lot of raw materials.
Yes.
There's maize, there's soya, there's omena. So for you to balance, to get the required nutrition,
Yes.
You need to source for all these raw materials.
So it's quite a challenge.
It's quite a challenge. So, and in the long run, when you do your math, if you try to source maize, soya, sunflower, maybe the difference between you and buying ready feeds is very minimal. With the challenge and also quality assurance, because this time you'll get quality, next time you miss out, and then consistency of the quality of feeds.
It might even lengthen the maturity
Yes,
period.
it lengthens the maturity period, and also this might affect your end result, that is the production. Then the other aspect is getting the right formulas to formulate your feeds.
Yes.
It's a bit expensive because majority of the people in the field don't give formulas for free. So you'll need to check some money for you to get the formula. So at times I advise my farmer to avoid all this hassle.
Yes.
That will maybe in the long run come to affect your production. You'd rather start small, get quality feeds, and you start growing pole pole. Yes.
So then when it comes to the aspects of now finishing, so
Yes.
you've been feeding them for all this time.
Yes.
You now want to be able to start to get them out of the door and into the market. Is there a way to do it? When I sabu siku, then go to market and decide whether you're slaughtering them or delivering them live, those sorts of things.
In our as you bring up the birds, there are some aspects that you normally consider. Is the weight gain.
Yes.
Because broilers gain weight at a very fast rate. So we recommend farmers to have digital scales at their farms, so that you can take weights each and every time, so that you can be able to gauge the growth of your birds or the behavior of your birds. And with that, you're going to know that if your birds are in the right trajectory or maybe they're not growing well.
Yes.
So at the day 35, maybe where farmers now start disposing of their birds, you find the birds, the live weight of those birds, majority of them are between 1.7 to 2 kg, depending on your management and maybe how you brought up your birds and maybe how you brought up your birds. So if you attain around 1.8 kg at day 35, your birds are good to go. Those birds are ready for market.
The market demands a lot of different things. We've seen capons, and other variations.
Yes.
For people like me, who've been around for a while,
Yes.
tunasemanga, we've seen the chickens in those shops shrink.
Yes.
Where before you'd have a chicken that was quite large.
Yeah.
Sasa squeeze it is quite small, kifaranga, those capon definitions. How is the market presentation and demand evolving? And is it more suitable to farmers now? Because you're saying 1.8 kgs.
Yeah.
Because before it would have taken quite a bit to get it to the 2 kgs, whatever was preferred.
Okay. Yes, I think the market has got different preferences, and that is why you get that there's some companies, or maybe there's some buyers who prefer different sizes. Majority of our eateries maybe recommend a dead weight of around 1.2, 1.3. So those are the capons that we get in our fast foods.
Yes.
Then these are the market that does value addition. So these are the market maybe considers maybe birds that have a dead weight of 2 kg. So those birds, those buyers go and add value. They do the breast, they do the cuts. So that those are, now you get packed wings, packed thighs, packed, So now the value addition market requires bigger ones, unlike the carbon market. Yes.
So how can the farmer then ensure that they retain most of this value as a farmer to ensure they have maximum returns when going to market? Based on what we are saying, is it that you work with what your market wants, then you're able to maximize, or is it that you target the market that will get you the biggest or the smallest?
I think most farmers, currently I think most farmers are driven by the market demands. You get the market demands this size of birds, so the farmers just stops to just harvest the birds as they are. There are only a few people that you find them, they have, because the validation market is not that large as the other commercial market. So you only find contracted people. I think these markets contract farmers. You get a certain outlet, maybe contracts a few farmers, as they might want birds with this weight. So it's not every farmer that is in a position to go and deliver birds to maybe those outlets. So now most of them are driven by the markets, like the city market, the city market. Those buyers just want birds at maybe 1.2, because now their other market is the hotels and other eateries. Yeah, so I think farmers are not maybe in so much control of the end market.
Yes.
They just supply maybe what the market just wants. Yes.
Let's talk a bit about market dynamics,
Yes.
Especially when it comes to places like Kenya, where you keep hearing
Yes.
mayai zinatoka Uganda and other such stories.
Yes.
And in reality, you actually find that some of those places have bigger eggs.
Yes.
Like if you go to some markets, eggs are quite large.
Yes.
As compared to the ones that you get in your local markets and supermarkets.
Yes.
What is powering these dynamics, and how can Kenyan farmers then get ahead of the curve?
Well, the biggest aspect, I think, the biggest parameter that leads to this is our cost of production. I think from our end, producing an egg is a bit expensive, unlike maybe our neighboring countries.
Yes.
Because currently, I think the cost of producing one egg is between 8 to 11 shillings.
Yes.
For you to produce one egg. Maybe now you get the farmer selling the egg to the market at maybe 12 shillings. So you see the margin, the profit margin of the farmer is very minimal.
Yes.
Now with maybe our neighboring countries, maybe where raw materials are available, you find that their cost of production is a bit lower than us, because the majority of our raw materials are imported. We have not been able to consistently produce raw materials that will enable us to lower the cost of feeds, because the biggest factor is feeds.
Yes.
So now that creates a room for competition from our neighboring countries. So I think that has been the biggest challenge currently. But we pray in the government to come in so that they can curb the challenge, so that our farmers at least can get something from their business. The same thing happens to broilers. Broilers, the funny part is that the poultry business and the poultry market is driven by demand and supply. So at times you get now, maybe when the schools are closed, maybe the eggs, the prices goes down. When the schools are back, the prices maybe shoot again. The same case to broilers. It's driven by maybe economies of scale. Maybe people are not maybe in a position to spend so much.
Yes.
So I think those factors are driven by, they are factors that maybe are out of the farmer's control. So that is why we request in bodies, for government bodies, and still maybe to come and assist on maybe in filling those gaps, so that maybe they can set up a certain price that this product will sell at this price, so that at least the farmer will never have a challenge.
Something.
Yes, will make something.
Okay,
Yes.
we have about 5 minutes left.
Yes.
I want us to talk about other types of birds, not just chicken.
Yes.
We know there are ducks, there's turkey,
Yes.
there's there's what?
Ornamental.
Ornamental birds, yes,
Yes.
that's the word I'm looking for. And so many other different things in that space. Talk to us about, briefly, the various benefits of doing those, especially as diversification, or even as real businesses. Is
Yes.
there space for that in our space here?
Yes. Currently we have a space for, we are calling them the emerging poultry, or the emerging chicken. we have space for that. Especially there's the turkey. The turkey is one bird that is being embraced. I think from way back, I think we have not embraced turkey meat for quite long. But it's now become a premium product. The demand is even high because there's a friend of mine that was saying there's even demand outside the country. Or there's market.
So the export.
There's export market. So I think it's a field that we need to venture in as farmers. So now what the only challenge now is the breed, because we don't have more improved breeds from these kinds of birds. So now that limits the number of the population. So that is one of the challenges. But if we maybe source breeds from outside the country, be breeds that can grow faster, I think that will be a plus for us. These are the class of birds, the ornamental birds. I think is the same. I think our biggest challenge is the breeding is the biggest challenge. So that and multiply maybe the emerging birds. But once we get into that line, I think we'll be good to go. The market is still open and there's opportunities in that line. So the requirements is one of the requirements that maybe you find that maybe also limits maybe this kind of business is the regulations maybe from the government. That some of these birds we need to have licenses from the KWS for you to, because they are part of wildlife. Yes. So if everything is aligned well, I think it's a market that is very open. Locally and outside of the country.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Unfortunately, we are out of time.
Yes.
But quite an interesting conversation here around poultry.
Yes.
Especially the fact that with the aspect of value addition you've talked about, and the quite long value chain, creating different spaces for people to operate there, whether you're the person hatching, the person aggregating the chicken, the person going to market, the person doing value addition, quite a bit of opportunity for our youth.
Yes.
But thank you very much, sir, for your time. Unfortunately, that is all the time we had today.
Okay, thanks.
But of course, to ask our viewers to, well, after having watched this episode, to give us their feedback so that we can, of course, follow up with your questions later on in a different later episode. Because I do know that lots of people have questions, and that we would be able to figure out ways of giving them that information in subsequent bulletins. My name is Peter Wakaba. Do continue to enjoy the rest of your viewing. It's been a blast. Asante.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sana.